Hello everyone, I'm Saranya from SRM University, Department of CSE, and now we are going to see the topic it comes from Unit 5, Application in Pervasive Computing. So before getting into the topic, we'll discuss some introduction about it, introduction with some examples. So this chapter totally they have given some example which is an application based oriented thing where you can imagine in an e-shop. So it is like online shopping, how it can be explored by the Java application method. We choose a shopping application including registration, login, main menu, self-care, purchasing, goods and purchase history. So many things we have analyzed, and this application is designed for the imaginary of some Italian restaurant named Uncle Eno's, which is sell via internet. And it is this we have in this example we are going to see how a PC is using a smart card authentication, how the WAP phone is going to be developed, and how the PDA rolls into the wireless application. So all these three things we are going to see one by one. This is all about some introduction topic. And coming to this example which I've told you, like Uncle Eno's restaurant, it is an Italian restaurant, a food restaurant they have taken, but it is located in a business area. Already has many business customer it wants to improve in order to process the customer sequencing and also to improve their business. The first step they have taken is in e-business to make a menu available for ordering via internet, so that the people can order the pizza and the drink for takeaway or for delivering through the PC in their homes or from offices. To improve the payment process, in the next step they have developed to support a smart card to add to this application. And the third step they have done is like the customer owing a payment card can now order an online pay securely at the same time, spreading up the process in further. So this is all about some example I told you. And meantime they have made like availability of a smartphone with a wireless internet access demands will be the next step. So here the web application has to be enhanced to handle the different devices capabilities of smartphones, and also the customer benefit from personalized offering and also allows them to select their favorite instead of having two browsers through the entire menu with the small devices. It is actually difficult to browse the entire menu using a small device. That is why we are making the customer easier via this method. So including this PDA into a set of client devices and further extending the number of potential users for the application. And also we have a support for an online and offline operation is added to the step. Of course we need some offline operation also. They can have a backup, and also when they comes for the online they can immediately select and can deploy the needed things. That is also can be done. The customer now have to choose several ways in order to purchase their favorite pizzas. So this is the main aim of the example. So that is what they have given in the slide. And overing to the user interface, I'll give you an overview about this user interface. We have seen a diagram over here which is WAP phone and landline connection and some PDA devices, PC, and the server which we have taken here is an Italian restaurant, that is Uncle Eno server. So through an internet we are going to see. So this is a example we have seen. Okay, and we also need how the user interface, how the intermediate thing the internet is going to handle. That thing we are going to see in three different ways. One is like registration, second one is login screen, and third one is menu. If you take registration, it allows a new user to register by providing their name, address, payment information. Unlike the functions of the application, registration is only possible from the PC via SSL connection. SSL we have seen in Unit 2. SSL connection to protect the customer data. Then the login screen. Second one is login screen. Login screen lets the user authenticate themselves using a device dependent authentication mechanism in case the user has to provide their user identification and the password, or a smart card identification or the authentication. The third one is like menu. Menu which allows a customer to start the shopping, review previous purchase, or on the login or log off of the session. This is what a small thing they have given. And also they have carried out the diagram, the same thing what I have mentioned now in the user interface they have given as a diagram, starting from the logo, registration confirmation, and also we have some menus like ordering menus, starting from ordering menus and the list of the at the end till the list of the purchase list, we have the entire thing. So if you comes under this ordering menu, if you see this ordering function, let the customer select the goods he or she wants to buy via the device depend on the user interface. After submitting the selection button, the shop application displays the confirmation that is obtained in order and it will deliver the goods. This is a thing it is going to happen. And the next thing is function to overview from a purchase. It is like display all the purchase of the user has made so far in the device dependent way. That is one thing. Another thing is like self-care. Self-care functionality allows the customer to create the personal list of the favorite that used to create the short list for a quick ordering in WAP as a changing the delivery addresses, as a functionality does not demonstrate the concepts of the technique beyond, and we will not describe the part of the system in the reminder. This is like they have given like how it has been the functionality of the purchase is going to help via a small flowchart diagram. Next comes on the architecture. This architecture we have seen like the main thing of this architecture is all about like login must be supported for PC with a smart card and WAP voice and PDAs, while the login dialog of WAP and the voice access and PDA are identical. The login dialog of a PC with a smart card is it is totally somewhat different. Therefore, we use one controller to log in from PC using a smart card and one controller for login from other devices, user identification and the password. So we need a common controller to get the inputs from the different sources of information. That is to encapsulate these application logic, we use a command pattern. For each task, we define a command that can be parameterized using the thing. This below diagram you can understand. Okay, the data that we need to make the precise registration for the customer available item and also purchase made by the customer. There are many approaches to access the precise data from Java, but one of the most convenient for the programmer is object-oriented relational database mapping. This is the most prominent mapping data type. After defining the type, we can persistent this object that are needed for the association, a tool that can be used to generate a Java code for the persistence object, and the database scheme used to store the data for these objects. And also we have the code that connects the data that connects the Java objects with the database, with the back end of the database. Okay, so these are all the needed thing of the for the controller. As I told you, we need a controller that manipulates the entire system. So we need a controller like device specific controller. Look at the diagram. A device specific controller is there and a device specific JSP also is there. The device specific controller, which is directly connected to the other commands like getting, purchase, list, address and delivery. All these things is being directly connected. So this is a database scheme. And also we as we told like this device controller is connected to JSP. So connected to JSP, they have given some implementation also. There are many ways to access the data from Java, but one of the most convenient for the programmer is object-oriented relationship data mapping system. This is what I have already discussed. The same thing I am repeating, okay. And the user information stored in the separate table, that is a unique table used to identify. See, if you look into this screenshots of this output, they have given this database script for the product tables. So we have a screenshot for product tables and the user data, a small screenshot you can maximize and see. So if you look into this user data, we are collecting the details like from the user ID, last name, city till your that is your pin code, zip code. So till here we are collecting all the data, and then going to this order table details, we are discriminating this order detail like starting from your order ID, pickup date, pickup time, status, and everything. And also we are using a command. As I told you, this is being generated with the mediator, that is controller, and the command here we are using is like foreign key. And the PDA user are also used to perform the most of the task offlining and connecting to the net only briefly to synchronize their input with the application in the internet. When using the database scheme with the synchronization of the software IBM Mobile Connect, we have to work around the limitation of the device must have been a primary key column. So that is also we have to monitor. And also one more point I would like to insist is like for this reason we use a unique user identification concatenate with the timestamp of the order and the order identification. So I told you we are using this primary key and the foreign key. So if you take this primary key in order item table is the same order identification concatenate with the sequencing number. So these are all like they have deeply explained about the coding, how it is actually used. And also we have to talk about this servlets also. Servlets like we describe this registration servlet, authentication servlet, and shop servlets that are the part of the same application, including the most important fragment of the source code. Before explaining, I'll introduce all these servlets in determining the request. So if you see this above screenshots, also we have talked about the order table and the device type mapper and everything. So this device type mapper, if you go through, it is an example used for the servlet to describe below to invoke the appropriate controller for a particular client devices. And as I told you, this shop's registration servlet, this only support for the user using PCs. That's all. Like for each incoming HTTP request, it checks whether the user agent in a web browser and then forward the request to the controller named under the name of registration controller PC. If in case all of the other device types, it sends back to the appropriate HTTP error. So it is governing only for the authenticated user. That's the only thing. And next you can see some screenshot. I have given a screenshot for Uncle Eno's restaurant, how the registration will look like. That registration also we have, and the login part of the shop registration, and we have some other screenshots also. So I told you we have a mediator between the customer service and the customer and the server. As a customer service, we have a controller. I'll tell you what is meant by controller. Now the controller process request is invoking by an application logic example via command, and generate a response by invoking a view that is using our local language, that is JSP. Depending on the results returned by the application logic, as the most of the controller we use in this example, all these above examples are the device specific and they are explained in detail. Like we have been given a screenshots also, and these controller by naming as registration controller, password logic, login controller, all these we have been specifying with the different names. And if you are talking about this registration controller, of course registration controller will govern the request from the user, and it also monitor the parameters like first name, last name, all these kind of parameter it will look after, and then it will allow the user to log in the system. And then we have this password login controller. As I told you, this controller will work as a voice gateway, user identification, and also like password, and also it has a controller with an example. So that screenshot also we have given. This is a controller for the registration JSP. So you can go through these registration JSP. All these things a highlighted example and how it works, starting from the restaurant, a person enter into the restaurant, and how the things are taken away from the like until he or she purchases the entire products. So far we have discussed about an Italian imaginary restaurant, maybe how the beverages is being carried out with some examples, and also with a diagram, with an architecture diagram and some working models I have explained you so far. Thank you.